In the next BattleBit Remastered update, guns are gonna sound like this. In this video, we're going to be going over the latest devcast, number 25, and giving you guys all the information that you need to know. There'll be a link to the full video in the comment section below. I do recommend checking it out to hear the devs' point of view. But for the TLDR, let's get straight into it. The first thing on the list is vaulting. So right now, Oki is giving an example of what the vaulting mechanic is like, and essentially saying how bad it is. If you've had an issue with vaulting, it is being mentioned right here in how it is slow and you can't stop yourself from vaulting over. Essentially, when you get into the vault animation, there's no backing out of it. You are in this motion and you have to go so far forward, and you can't do these minimal jumps to like get on this railing. If I wanted to stand on that railing, you just had to jump onto it and you couldn't mantle onto it. It would just be pretty much impossible. This goes for standing on windowsills and stuff like that.
Example, when you press space, it goes above that surface. It actually doesn't go beyond. If you hold W, there you go forward. You go forward and then you decide to not, you can do this now. You can cancel it, pretty much. This way, you have three options. One, go back, stay on it, move forward.
Oki explains it pretty well there, that now you have more capability of controlling your character, which is always a good thing and good for movement. He also mentions that there's 3 different levels essentially, depending on the height of the barrier. So a small barrier, your aim will slightly be adjusted when mantling, and then higher objects will be more greatly increased. To put that in perspective, as you can see, hopping this little barrier, it doesn't really change his aiming, but when he does it over something higher, then there's more of an animation. Next up, doors are finally into the game. Now the things with doors, you can close them, unlock them, charge through them. Pretty similar to what COD Modern Warfare doors interact like. I think a fair bit of inspirations come from that. The main reason for doors is to try and reduce chaos throughout the maps, and being able to give a sound audible cue as well for when someone's charging into your building and if you're being snuck up upon. Mainly to give a break in chaos and another form of cover essentially in the game. More audio stuff was mentioned here with about 3D spacing and how something not in your line of sight is going to be sounding a lot different, a lot more muffled and lower volume essentially when you do not have line of sight of the target or object making noise, where when it comes into your peripheral and they have a line of sight of you, you have a line of sight of them, their boots sound on the ground, their guns, everything will sound a lot louder. This will try and help the chaos in the game as well, just giving you more clear audio of where the enemy is going to be, or a threat that is most closest to you. You should be able to pick this up a lot better than we are able to now. This change I'm actually really keen for, because my recent play sessions in BattleBit Remastered, I've noticed how poor the audio is at the moment, and I can't wait for this change. Now onto the biggest game changer I think that is coming in the patch, apart from the audio, is the recoil changes coming to medium scopes. Now, if you've played BattleBit and you've tried using a medium scope on an assault rifle or an SMG, you've probably had a bad time because we all know that the recoil is pretty insane and hard to control. The reason they had this in the first place was to stop these really long range engagements and making it 2 on the milsim side by everyone just shooting across the map at each other with mid scopes on. Now they are implementing less recoil for these scopes, so it will be more realistic essentially, or very much easier to control your gun shooting with a medium.
Here's the new recoil, by the way.
This will change the game from these close to mid engagements as the primary source of engagements, or primary focus of the game. There will be a lot more gunfights taken at range now, and cover being very important. Now, you're probably thinking, oh no, this is going milsim now with this change. The counter to this though is thinking of dropping the damage over the range, so the guns are less effective over the greater distance, which brings up a few questions, but I can see the direction of this. They are pushing one thing more milsim, with the longer range scopes being more effective, which means we'll be shooting further at range, but then bringing it back into the arcade style by reducing the damage, so then you're still able to be hit and go, okay, I know where I've been shot from, I need to take cover, or you have the chance to react and make a gameplay decision based on that fact, instead of just being beamed across map and dying, where I don't think many people will have fun with that. But yes, I think the long range engagements will become more of a norm. I think it will definitely change the way we play BattleBit Remastered. I think this change is going to be huge. Now, staying with the medium scopes, Larry has been hard at work redoing pretty much all the sights. Oki implementing how we actually view the sight as well, instead of having this small fisheye type effect and old scopes being pretty clunky. We have now this new, slimmer, much better detailed look. One of the criticisms early on from one of my friends was actually visibility in the game and how that he was just struggling to see enemies, which is fair enough, and I think this will be a really good implementation for people like my friend, which just had a hard time being able to see enemies. Also, referencing my kill on Tyler1 in Twitch Rivals, I was able to see him from ages away just with a red dot sight and mow him down, where he had no idea where I was, even though I was in front of him, out in the open essentially. So I think this will be a better change for newer players. Oki briefly shows off reticle customization, but just to be able to change the shape and the color, but not the size, I think they were talking about, which is also a cool implementation, a cool customization element to change how you want to use your gun. Now, to quickly go into more detail about the sound effects and the visuals of the guns, we can see there's a lot more smoke effects and just overall animation going into the weapons now, which is really cool to see. Even the sounds being a lot more heavier hitting, which I M21 EBR side by side, you can definitely tell the difference.
So you can see definitely. This is the new pistol firing. If you compare it to the old one,
It sounds so weak. I think the boys also went out of the way to make something a little special, which was silencers hearing to overheat. They won't actually affect your gun, but it's just a visual.
there you go. This doesn't affect your gunfire, by the way, or anything. It's only visual. That's pretty much. The game's supposed to be a teamwork game. Where is it? If I'm playing solo and flanking, I will get more kills. How this is a teamwork game? Like, exactly, this is a mess, pretty much.
The main issue that was hitting with the devs, as Oki just said, was that it's not a team game, and that's what they really wanted to make. Where right now, you're not waiting for someone to revive you most of the time, you're just holding down spacebar to get res, and you're trying to look for that flank, the angle, the way that you can get the most amount of kills. You're not really effectively pushing or being with your team. Now, this is not for all players. I know that there are some players which do play just full teamwork, but players like myself and the higher skill sweaty boys, the way to get most kills is by flanking. And I know there's a lot of criticism against, like, well, that's just people playing better, it's a skill issue, but I do see the fact that by reducing the amount of damage that we can do or increasing players' health, players will actually be able to react where they're being shot from and just having a better chance of survival and making it harder for the flanker to be able to mow down multiple people instantly. I do want to reiterate that the thing that brought me into BattleBit Remastered was the feel of the guns and the time to kill. I think I was sold by my first M249 clip of me just mowing down 12 people instantly and then from there I was hooked. So I can see why these type of changes can be scary for the game, but I do feel like change is necessary at this point of time with how low the player count has gotten. I do have faith in the guys to pull this stuff off, and I think we just do need to give it a chance and see how it feels, and just be here to give them positive feedback. Now, when I say positive feedback, it can be a negative thing, but we still have to say it nicely, essentially. One of the things that I learned at uni was actually giving good critique, and it's essentially treat it as a sandwich. You give a compliment, then the negative, and then a compliment again. So then that way you're giving the information that you want to give without hurting the feelings of the person that's receiving the critique. So for right now, I could say, okay, the gun sounds and animations look fucking sick, and then I'm actually a bit worried about the direction of the time to kill, keeping the assault class movement speed at max while reducing the others. But then the implementation of doors and the 3D audio I really appreciate and can't wait to get my hands on it. So something like that. Yeah, just giving you guys a little heads up into, yeah, that part of positive feedback, because like myself, I'd like to receive stuff like that. You do get a dickhead now and again, which will just be like, bad, this bad, and then it's just like, well, I can't work off of that, man. I need why is this bad? And early on there was one video where I was teasing the release date, and that video I had pretty much no information. Someone called me out on that, full on laid into me, and I'm like, okay, I need to step back and take that in. He took the time to give me this comment, and I need to appreciate that and read it and learn from that. Anyway, enough about that. The last thing I want to talk about is just the new map announced. This one was originally reworked and then cancelled and then reworked again, so it has been in the works for a good minute. Velasquez said that this will have a lot of vertical gameplay and yeah, based in a hill/mountaintop type of scenario. I'm always keen for new maps, new guns, all that jazz. Last off, you've probably seen some clips throughout this video. Unfortunately, I didn't have the audio recording for in-game, but I have been using the AK-5C a fair bit. I'm really enjoying it, so I do recommend trying that one out for yourself, guys. That's pretty much it for this. I hope you enjoy this video. Make sure you guys check out the full video in the link below, as I've used footage and audio from them. I'm really excited for all these changes, to be honest. There are some questions about snipers, especially in my head, seeing that we're reducing damage over range, but then what's the deal with snipers? But that will probably be addressed in another video. But the update is coming soon, so make sure you hit that subscribe button if you did enjoy this video and to stay up to date with BattleBit. My name is Big Bodster, and thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Big Bodster!